Gerda sped to the palace. She stared in awe at the Snow Queen's palace because the walls were made of driving snow. The windows and doors were made of cutting winds, and there were hundreds of empty halls. Right in the middle of the biggest hall of snow was a big frozen lake. In the middle of the lake there was an icy throne where the Snow Queen sat when she was home. But thankfully, the Snow Queen had gone off to warm lands to look down into the mouths of two volcanoes, Mount Vesuvius and Mount Etna. Gerda was overjoyed to see Kay. He was sitting on the ground playing with some slabs of ice. Kay looked nearly blue and black with the cold, and he was still in his ragged clothes, but he didn't seem to feel the cold winds or the icy chillness. When the Snow Queen kissed him, she'd taken away all the feeling of cold from his body. He was trying to arrange the ice in different ways to make all sorts of figures with those slabs. Sometimes he found figures that represented a word, but he had not succeeded in finding the words he was desperately looking for. It so happened that the word he was searching for most desperately was eternity. The Snow Queen had told him,
"Find a figure to represent eternity, and I'll set you free. You can be your own master, and I'll present you with the whole world and a new pair of skates."
Maybe the Snow Queen was confident that he would never guess it ever. Kay was very busy with his ice puzzle. As she left, Kay was all alone. He didn't look up, nor did he show any emotion. He sat very still and looked almost lifeless. It was at that very moment that Gerda stepped through a portal and arrived at the very place where Kay sat. The moment she saw him, she was so overcome with joy that she ran towards him shouting in joy.
"Oh, Kay, how I've missed you! How cold and blue you look, my poor Kay!"
She embraced him and cried in joy.
"I found you at last, and all my efforts didn't go in vain."
Kay sat quite still, numb and cold with all the time he'd spent in the icy palace. He didn't even recognize Gerda. Overcome by emotion and joy, Gerda wept over his shoulders, and as she cried her heart out, the hot tears rolled out of her cheeks and plopped onto his chest. Her pure tears melted away the splinter that had been struck in his heart for such a long time. Gerda held his hands and cried on his shoulders, and that was when Kay found tears in his eyes too. When he began to cry, the splinter that had been stuck fast in his eye rolled out with the tears and fell onto the icy ground below. Immediately afterwards, Kay was filled full of joy and warmth, and he recognized Gerda, his sweet and loyal friend.
"Oh, Gerda, hasn't it been long since we saw each other?"
Kay asked.
"And where am I? I know not how I came here. How empty and cold this place is. What have I been doing here?"
said Kay. Gerda and Kay held their hands together, and they looked so blissful that the ice slabs on the ground began to dance around them in joy. They danced on, and finally lay down on the ice. When the ice slabs lay down on the ice, they formed the exact letters needed for eternity. Kay was now his own master, and free to leave the place and go to where he wished. That was not all. He was entitled to a new pair of skates, and the whole world was his, as promised by the Snow Queen.
"This is the gateway to the Snow Queen's throne room. Can you please help me to open it?" "Thank you. Now I need to hide somewhere."
Well, boy, did you manage to assemble the symbol of eternity?
No matter how hard I try, I can't do it.
Well, if you're able to do it, I'll give you the whole world and a new pair of skates. I'll be leaving you for now and fly to warmer places.
All right.
"My dear Kay, I finally found you." "He doesn't recognize me. What should I do so that he can remember me?" "Great! I think I could sing him my song. The rose in the valley is blooming so sweet, and angels descend there the children to greet."
Gerda, my dear Gerda, where have you been all this time?
Oh, it doesn't matter. We are together again. That's what matters. Now we can go back home.
Oh no, I'm locked inside here. To get out, I need to solve the Snow Queen's puzzle. Can you help us? We need to put together the symbol of eternity. Now we can go home.
Okay, but first I have to help these animals.
Of course, we need to unfreeze them. This is it!
Finally, we can go home.